faithfully sharing value, exploring global good books. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Hi, everyone. I'm Gu Wenhao, the editor-in-chief of Sally's Book Talk. Oh, it's time again for our weekend editor's recommendation segment. Lately, the term family of origin has become super popular. It started as a psychological jargon, but now it's a widely discussed everyday word. Well, family of origin itself means the family you have with your mom and dad. If someone grows up in a good family of origin, they gain positive energy like love, self-esteem, and confidence. But some families, according to American author Susan Forward, are toxic. The toxic here is in quotes, of course. It's not about bad air quality. We Chinese often say no parents are wrong, but parents are human too. They make mistakes and yell at kids. Um, However, in toxic families, parents' negative behavior isn't occasional, it's persistent. For example, some parents habitually hit their kids, or others abuse drugs or alcohol. Then there are those who neglect kids long term, constantly criticize them, or even commit sexual abuse. So these toxic families cause harm like fear, low self-esteem, or guilt. And those toxic seeds planted in childhood grow with the child, eroding their mental and emotional world. Now, is the impact of family of origin really as big as we imagine? That big? When faced with a bad family of origin, how do we break free? Well, next Monday, we're recommending the book titled Family of Origin. Its subtitle is How to Repair Your Character Defects. This book is written by Susan Forward, an internationally renowned psychotherapist, speaker, and author. Oh, we've recommended several of her works before, like Obsessive Love and Emotional Blackmail. And this Family of Origin is actually Susan's most important book. This work is a groundbreaking classic in family psychological healing in the psychology field. Through numerous real-life examples, it analyzes how unhealthy families of origin continuously impact adult children's lives and how to break free from negative parental relationship patterns to regain confidence and strength. Well, renowned Chinese psychologist Wu Zishang wrote in the preface of this book that home is a channel for transmitting love and warmth, but also hatred and harm. And this book helps us clearly understand our own families, reigniting the love, happiness, and freedom within us. If you've also been affected by your family of origin, then you definitely shouldn't miss this book. Well, on Tuesday, we're recommending a must-read book that every entrepreneur knows well. Even famous in the startup world, it's called The 4 Steps to the Epiphany. Many entrepreneurs invest tons of time and effort using great ideas and tech to create awesome products. But often, unfortunately, they don't achieve the commercial success they imagined. Well, why is that? One big reason is that while building the product, they work in isolation, slogging away to finish it, only to find customers aren't there or don't buy in. Well, the author of this book, Stephen Blank, is a successful serial entrepreneur who's founded 8 companies. So, to help entrepreneurs avoid the trap of working in isolation, he distilled a simple yet effective startup method from 25 years of practice, calling it the 4 steps. Link believes that traditional startup thinking overly focuses on product development while neglecting customer development. It's like walking with only one leg. Of course, you're prone to falling. So, in his book, The 4 Steps to the Epiphany, he clearly proposed a method called customer development to fix this flaw in product development. After its publication, this book sparked the lean startup movement in Silicon Valley, hailed as the pioneer of customer development methodology, endorsed by Kai-Fu Lee, and foundational to lean startup theory. Well, if you're an entrepreneur or aspiring to be one and want to explore customer development methods thoroughly, then you can't miss the book, The 4 Steps to the Epiphany, that we'll unpack on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we'll recommend another book called Great Power Ministers with the subtitle Contemporary China's Unified Development and Balance. People living in big cities can't help but complain about urban issues. For example, roads are too congested, too many cars, poor air quality, strained public resources. Even getting a child into a decent public kindergarten requires queuing a year in advance, and so on. All sorts of social problems. So, some folks ask, why do these problems exist? It's because cities are too big, populations too large. So, the solution is super simple: restrict outsiders from entering. But is that really the truth? The book, Great Power Ministers, that we'll cover next Wednesday, doesn't think so. The author of this book, Professor Lu Ming, is a distinguished professor and doctoral advisor at Shanghai Jiaotong University. He's focused on China's urbanization and labor issues since his PhD days, over 20 years, and has published nearly 10 works on this topic. In the book, he argues that solving urban problems doesn't involve restricting population. In fact, he believes cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou don't have enough people yet. And to develop the economy well, we must allow outsiders to keep entering these cities. In this book, Lu Ming explains from an economic perspective not only the benefits of population concentration for development, but also identifies the real root causes of urban issues and solutions. On Thursday, we're recommending a book many readers will recognize, the classic novel Bleak House, adapted countless times for TV and film. It's hailed as the world's first legal-themed novel by one of the greatest 19th century British authors, Charles Dickens. In daily life, we often face disputes and frequently use legal avenues to resolve them. People also expect to gain justice from this. That is the judiciary really a symbol of justice? Bleak House is a legal novel about a battle over a massive inheritance. The story of Dickens' novel revolves around an inheritance lawsuit in 19th century England. Then, lawyers exploit complex court procedures to profit, bankrupting the parties involved. In the end, the inheritance is only enough to cover the legal fees and lawyers' costs. Through this novel, Dickens satirizes the British legal system and helps support a judicial reform movement leading to legal changes in the 1870s. So, what kind of case is actually described in the book? How do judges and lawyers profit from the case? We'll uncover this together next Thursday. In 1905, Nobel Medicine laureate Robert Koch issued a warning. He said that someday mankind must fight noise as desperately as we fight cholera and plague. Over a century later, just as Koch predicted, silence has vanished, not only from our cities and suburbs, but even from vast wilderness areas. It's become truly hard to find any place free from human noise pollution. The book we're recommending on Friday is called One Square Inch of Silence. That 1 square inch in the title, it's smaller than a teacup lid, but represents one of Earth's last truly silent places, and it actually exists, deep in a rainforest in Washington State, USA. The author, Gordon Hempton, has been called the world's best listener. He's a professional sound ecologist who's recorded sounds for over 20 years, specializing in studying and protecting Earth's ecology through capturing nature's sounds. During a trip, he accidentally discovered this tiny, silent spot and kept returning to enjoy and document nature's silence. But while recording nature, he'd constantly hear engine noises, tourist chatter, and other human disturbances to explore and find other possible silent places. In April 2007, Hempton embarked on a cross-America journey in an old car. Thus, 1 square inch of silence was born. The silent journey described in this book. If you too want to discover quiet in this world, join us next week as we read this book. Many listeners mention how much we focus on education in our program. That's because education is probably one of society's most concentrated concerns right now. If you have kids, you're deep in educational anxiety. We also notice many young parents showing great enthusiasm for learning about pregnancy preparation, prenatal care, and infant care. They browse forums, search Baidu, join group discussions, quickly become experts, and confidently give advice to others. But after the child is born, they rarely put effort into learning about psychological development, character building, or cultivating reading and self learning habits. Ask about what milk powder to use, which brand, or calcium supplements. They know all the answers. But when it comes to children's psychology and behavior, they often look completely clueless. Well, the book we'll unpack next Saturday is called Parenting Essentials, with the subtitle Find Good Methods, Be Relaxed Parents. Parents, there's a line in the book I deeply relate to. It's not that children rebel, but that you grow too slowly. The authors are a couple named Gao Zizhong and Xu Jiming. Both graduated from top universities and are well-known figures in advertising and publishing. In parenting circles, they call themselves sincere parents. Sincere comes from their sons' names. Tianzhen, heavenly sincere, and Kaixin, happy heart. This couple is remarkably self-reliant. After both children were born, they didn't ask grandparents for help and hired nannies for only 3 years total. Between career and parenting, this couple always seems to find the perfect balance effortlessly. For them, the parenting principle is simple: independent kids, relaxed parents. While launching 2 businesses, they raised exceptionally independent and healthy children. Naturally, many of us wonder, how exactly did they achieve this ideal situation? We'll reveal that next Saturday. Now, another quick promo for both longtime listeners and new friends of Sally's Book Talk. If you love reading and audiobooks, then check the comments below our Sally's Book Talk episodes to find our official community account and add our assistant. Join our Sally's Book Talk community, where we regularly host activities and give away the latest quality publications. Thanks for tuning into today's Himalaya Book Talk.